opportunity for our kids, to restore prosperity and promote the cause of peace, to reclaim the American dream and reaffirm that fundamental truth that out of many we are one, that while we breathe, we hope, and where we are met with cynicism and doubt and those who tell us that we can't, we will respond with that timeless creed that sums up the spirit of a people. Yes, we can.
And yes, we did. Today marks 15 years since Barack Obama's historic election as the 44th president of the United States and this nation's first black president. And though much has changed since his 2 terms in office, former President Barack Obama continues to be a powerful voice for democracy around the world and at home. Joining me now, Valerie Jarrett, CEO of the Obama Foundation, chair of the board of When We All Vote, and author of Finding My Voice, also grandma to James and June. Valerie, thank you very much, as always, for coming to the show. Can you believe how much has changed since that historic night 15 years ago?
Well, good morning. It's very hard, Jonathan, to believe how much has changed until I looked into the audience last night and I saw so many of the folks who were young, fresh out of school, young, energetic campaign workers who are now married with children and very different jobs, but all still feeling this sense of responsibility to give back. So a lot has happened in 15 years, but as I listened to that tape that you played, I still feel that sense of incredible hope and ability to overcome huge obstacles, which certainly we face today.
Mm-hmm. Well, to your point, former First Lady Michelle Obama reflected on that historic 2008 victory when speaking to the former staffers at a celebration, a reunion in Chicago last night. Listen.
All of you know that nothing about that campaign or that election was easy or unearned. Nothing was preordained. What I love about all of you all is that so many of you got involved, not just in spite of the scale of the challenge, but because of it.
Valerie, what do you remember most about that campaign?
That it was hard, but that it was full of hopeful spirit. I can remember my first trip to Iowa, and a young guy who just finished Yale picked me up and drove me around in the dead of winter. And he was parents of Ethiopians. He had never been to Iowa before, but yet by the time I arrived on the ground, he had built relationships all across Des Moines. And when I walked in the door, people knew him. And that didn't happen just in Iowa. It happened all over our country, where these incredible, young, spirited people who believed in this vision that we're a part of something bigger and more important than ourselves, and that hard things can be accomplished, just filled me with so much hope. And so I remember the young people, and I remember having a chance to see this entire country from a vantage point that was unusual, and that the consistent spirit was one of hope, of ability that we can change.
So yesterday, actually, on hope, I was going to skip over this, but, hope and change was President Obama's message in 2008. What would his message be today?
It's the same message. Nobody ever said hope was easy. Nobody ever said change was easy. And I think what we heard yesterday at our second annual Democracy Forum was people focusing on what can government do to change, what can the institutions that support our democracy do to change, what can the individual and the business community do to change. And so the challenge is still there. We all have this responsibility to perfect our union. And part of what President Obama said that night in Grant Park, and what he said at the end of his time in office, was, look, the most important office is that of citizen. And that's something we all can share. And so I think yesterday we felt this sense of empowerment and ability to, inspire and empower and connect each other to continue this really hard work, Jonathan. And so if anybody ever thought it was easy, it is not. But it's never been. The people upon whose shoulders we stand had it a lot harder than we do, and it's our responsibility to pay it forward. And that's a big piece of what the Obama Foundation is all about.
Mm-hmm. Yesterday, at the 15-year celebration, President Obama issued a call to action for, quote, inclusive capitalism. What exactly does inclusive capitalism mean for the country at this time?
Look, we have to build an economy that works for everyone. If you work hard and play by the rules, you should have the opportunity to have a good job, support your family, retire with dignity, see your children do better than you have done. And one of the threats to democracy is when people feel it's not a level playing field, that they can't compete competitively, where we see this growing division between the haves and the haves not, and a hollowing out of the middle class. And so what he put forward were a series of ideas in which we should all consider taking the long view of what do we do to build a more inclusive and more just economy. And that if we do that, it will help stabilize and strengthen our democracy.
What was the mood at the reunion, I guess, last night, or I think it was over a couple days? What was the mood like? Was there a mood of despair? Because a whole lot has changed since President Obama was in office, and certainly, since between 2016 and 2020. Are folks feeling despairing, or are they feeling like, yeah, it's tough and things are difficult, but we can overcome this?
I think much more of the latter, Jonathan. I mean, keep in mind, many of us had worked together for part or all of those 8 years, seeing each other again all in one place, hearing from both the president and the former first lady was just so inspirational and so heartwarming. And yet we know we are in tough times. And I think the goal of last night was not just a celebration. And you're right, it's over a couple of days. We're still celebrating again today. I have 5 different celebrations to go to in the course of today. But I think the goal is not just to celebrate, but to recommit, to say, okay, we are facing extraordinary tough times, but we have faced tough times before. Take a little history lesson and then say, what am I going to do? What is my responsibility? How can I fulfill a commitment to strengthen our democracy? And so I think in addition to the celebration, it was a spirit of recommitment.
Valerie Jarrett, as always, thank you very much for coming to the Saturday Show.